3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, Vikings fans? Welcome into another episode of House Calls, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. You have the Skull Doc here and my partner in crime, Dave, joining us as always. Dave, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Seems like every time we record, the Wolves are on TV.
Yeah.
So I'm pulling them onto the side here so I can keep tabs on them. We currently got the Wolves up by 1, close game. So I'm sure a lot of our audience is going to be glued to the TV here. But that's not going to stop us from talking Minnesota Vikings. And kind of a dead period now, but we got some things that we'll talk about. In particular, what I wanted to do tonight was we picked the Vikings games last week, and I want to pick the rest of the NFC North and go through all 4 teams. What's up, Dan? What's up, man? And just kind of see how we see the division shaking out with our picks. So that's something we'll get to tonight. We can talk about the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Patriots for training camp. That'll be interesting. They really like to do that, and they continue to do that every year. And then we got some J.J. McCarthy talk. Cam Bynum was on Kay Adams. Did you see that?
I saw he was on it.
Yeah, so we got a couple things that we can talk about. Where do you want to start, Dave?
Well, one of the things I watched recently was the behind the scenes of the draft, and one of the things I really stood out to me is that they had the guys they were picking picked out. Like these are guys they were hoping were going to be there and fell even farther to where they got them. That made them even happier, and especially with our first pick of the draft. They seem to be all over him, and they debated on whether or not to chance it and trade down, and ultimately they didn't show any of. They may have been trying to shop and didn't have it. They didn't put that in the video, but the fact that they were really that was the name they were talking about as their first pick of the draft. I think that's who they wanted. That's who they selected. It makes you feel real good about that. I watched a video of Felton. I don't know who did it. If it was Maryland, did it for all their players or whatever. But they recorded. So if you see the video of him with 30 people, 100 people around him in his room and his living room with his mom and him have fans on their faces. That's him. That's from that video, and they superimposed when he was a kid and growing up playing, high school, college, and and then their anticipation. Their agent was there. He stood out like a sore thumb. It showed what his family was like and everything. It seems like he comes from a great family, and he was like it growing up. Like he was the shit growing up all the way through. And his work ethic, his shows, they continuously talked about that, and I think that's what stood out. He's our type of player, and then the other players in the other video about the behind the scenes draft, it really seems like they went after athletic type guys. Like that's their thing. They wanted athletic type guys, and there were certain traits about them. I feel a lot better about the D end we got and the tight end that we got in the draft, because it just feels like those guys were there. They wanted to draft them earlier. Their guys kept slipping, and they were able to get the guys they wanted. And from now on, I'm going to pay a lot of attention to the top 30 that they have come in, because that seems where they get their guys.
That's a great point. Yeah, a lot of top 30 guys there. They brought that up multiple times. They had their eyes on Donovan Jackson early in the first round. They were talking about him before Seattle picked.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They were, in that video, they were talking about it it made it seem like it was as soon as the draft started.
Mm-hmm. So, I believe we had some intel from guys that Donovan Jackson was the highest guard on their board, and they really were hell-bent on filling that position. Seemed like they had
I think Ben
target
Lieber
focus.
they showed video of Ben Lieber calling it.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. That was good to see. Ryan Grigson and Kwesi were talking about, hey, we can go back here, and they talked about that being the risky thing to do,
Yeah.
right? They
Like
were like,
they didn't want that was a I'll ask you guys, when it comes up and
Mhm.
see if it's risky. And I think when all those D tackles went, I think that their second choices are probably all gone.
I and I anticipated them to really like Derek Harmon and to really lean Derek Harmon, who was another top 30 visit if he was available. And who knows, like they may have edited everything that we saw to make it seem like Donovan Jackson was
Yeah.
their dude all along.
How about Kobe King? He kept mentioning Kobe King like the whole show.
Yeah,
It's
like
like,
very early. But maybe Donovan Jackson was just their dude and they wanted him and they didn't want to go back. And they mentioned how risky it was to move back. So it makes you feel pretty damn good that, the draft fell the way the Vikings wanted it to fall for them. And they pulled the trigger and they had conviction about the pick, right? And that's all they can really ask for.
yeah, I mean, just watching those videos and then I've pretty high. I feel real good about Felton as a receiver. Just his total makeup as a receiver. I think he's got quite a even the speed they showed at like the big turning point for him was a combine when he ran a sub 4.4.
Mhm.
Um, but the things leading up to that was his game tape. It just it's great. It's just him breaking tackles and going 100% all the time. It's just I think he may jump to our third receiver this year.
Yeah.
There's a good chance of that. I think he's got the ability to do that. Whether or not he picks up the offense is a different story. You got to feel comfortable out there, but he's going to have opportunity, I think.
I think that the Vikings will be comfortable with Naylor as wide receiver 3 this
Yeah.
year, and then work Felton in as the gadget guy and make some plays for him specifically. But I am intrigued by the player. First of all, his draft stock being third round pick is that you can still hit on wide receivers in that range. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, fourth
Naylor
round pick,
drops 2 passes in the game, you might be seeing Felton. That's what I'm
maybe.
saying. It's
But
gonna
what
be
I
that
like
close.
about his game as a prospect is that you mentioned his speed, his shiftiness. He rarely gets tackled on the first attempt. The negatives to his game is route running and then getting off the line and getting to his route. So dealing with press coverage. Those are two things that I think McCardle, as his wide receiver coach, and watching Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison in practice every day, these are things I think he can get better at in the NFL and become a solid wide receiver too if Jordan Addison is to leave or be traded or whatever in the future. So I think there's a lot of growth that we could see from a player like this. And the beat reporters all kind of said the same thing. We were surprised to see how long the kid is, like how fast he is, but how long he is. Typically, with those really fast guys, they're built a little bit more low to the ground and small. But they all mentioned how he kind of runs straight up and down off the line, and he needs to kind of sink down and become a smaller target, and he'll work on that.
And I mean, as far as his hands, the video I saw, he takes 100 jugs machines before practice, 100 jugs after. He's even
Mhm.
catching tennis balls. I don't know what that's from going to do, but that was the thing he did at Maryland. But in the
Shit, if you can catch a tennis ball, you can catch a football.
yeah, you hope so. Now with the one of the things is though he could have left Maryland at any time and went to a bigger school or a better environment, for him to stand out, right? Because he did
Mhm.
have the talent and he didn't do it. He stuck with Maryland the whole way through. So that's also pretty impressive for a kid. He might have been bigger talent or a bigger draft pick in this draft if he was playing for a better school. Maryland's
Yeah.
not horrible or anything, but they're not the ones you're going to think about I mean, we got Diggs from Maryland in fifth round, but hopefully this guy pans out too.
Didn't the Lions trade up for that fast straight line speed kid before the Vikings took Felton? I think that's right.
I can't.
I think the Lions traded future capital to move up and take that Isaac. Can't remember his last name, but tall, height, weight, speed type of guy. And honestly, I'd rather have Felton. Like, I just think his game's going to translate better to the NFL.
Yeah.
So should we let's look at the comments here. I haven't seen if people are commenting. We got Dan in here. Skull Mafia has mentioned the Bears flag, so that's actually my house divided flag. My wife's a Bears fan.
Yeah, you gotta make sure your camera's adjusted.
Yep. We got Skull Mafia in here. We got Daniel Fogg. Good to see you guys. We got the Wolves game on in the background here, following up with that. Well, let's jump into, if you don't mind, let's start picking the NFC North opponent schedules. I'm trying to remember. We had both picked the Vikings. I think we all three ended at the same record last week of 13 wins. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah.
So after looking at the schedule, I'm actually going to fix one thing about that. I had picked them to win in Detroit, the Vikings to win in Detroit. I'm going to have that as a loss, actually, because what I didn't realize, the Lions are going to be coming off a bye week and playing the Vikings in Detroit. So I'm going to give the Lions that win, and we'll talk about that. So I'm going to actually say the Vikings get 12 wins, and that feels right to me. I think 13 is probably a little high. So with that in mind, as we pick the other schedules here, we're going to have the Vikings at 12 wins measuring up against the rest of these teams. Where do we want to start, Dave? You want to start with the Lions?
The Lions play us after the bye week?
Yes. Well, is that might be the wrong year there. I messed up. See how it says 2021 schedule? That's Skull Doc's mistake there. Let's make sure this is the right one.
We got the Packers and the Bears.
Bro,
so.
No, I think the Packers one was wrong too. I think I messed up. Go back.
Really?
2021.
It says 2025 on the thing below. Did you save it like that?
This is wrong because the Packers end at Minnesota. So
I'm the only one that got one right.
This is a production error on the Skull Doc. I will fix that as you start breaking down week one. I mean, we already picked this game. We have the Vikings winning here. I'm going to remove the Packers, remove the Lions. Dave, let's start while I'm searching for these schedules here. Let's break down Vikings hosting the Patriots and your thoughts on having dual practices like that in training camp. Are you for that?
Is there you're saying dual practices, you mean combined practices with the other team?
Yeah, in training camp. Okay. Going up against another team.
Not that we have two of them scheduled yet, right? We just got the one.
I've just heard Patriots so far.
Okay, because last year we had two, right?
That sounds correct. What? I forget. We had the Titans and the Browns, I think, last year. We hosted the Titans, and I think we played at the Browns.
When was San Francisco? I forgot that one. Yeah. Well, anyways, you asked me what I feel about us playing. I think it's great. I think there's more competition, I want to say, because it is ones going against ones. There is there's like the last time I think we had the day one, we played soft, it looked terrible. The next day we adjusted, came back and played better. I think that's a good testament to the improvement that the team's doing. I think these are important, and I think we put more weight on them than preseason games, in my opinion. And I think it's justified.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the practices are much more controlled than preseason games. You get more out of them. I don't really think the injury risk is that much higher. Jordan Addison tweaked his ankle just going up for a ball coming down. That's unlucky. That can happen at any time, honestly. So, Kevin O'Connell and this Vikings coaching staff really seems to like them and put a lot of stock into them. So, I mean, I'm totally into it. And I think that in terms of competitiveness, it's the best you can get closest to a game, right? So I think the players get a lot out of them.
And who do we have that one year? The professional wrestler. He actually ended someone's career in a joint practice.
Professional wrestler. It wasn't Brock Lesnar, was
Brock
it?
Lesnar. Yeah.
He ended someone's career?
Yeah, he picked a guy up and threw him down, body slammed him, took out his shoulder. He got cut. Never played again.
Wow, man, I did not know that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just knew he didn't make the team and that he was in training camp. I didn't know he hurt
Yeah, he
someone.
was in a joint practice. He got pissed off and body slammed one of the other players. I forget which team we were playing, but it was crazy.
Wow. Dan says it'll be interesting to see how much KOC looks at Drake May, considering he was trying to trade up for him getting McCarthy. There'll definitely be a couple dabs from for your boy Drake May. Everyone loves KOC. I'm sure Drake May is going to be excited to see KOC too.
I mean, again, I thought we lead the league in storylines, right? And hell, we're doing one in preseason. This is This is the guy we tried to trade up for, and now we get to see him like close up and how he's going to be handling that offense. And seeing our guy go up against their guy, the two guys, I'd say there was like four guys we kind of really were looking at in the draft. Jaden Daniels just wasn't in our reach, but I would say Penix and then our guy and Drake May here. It's good that we're gonna see us go against those guys now. It's pretty cool.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. All right, so I fixed the schedules. We should be good to go. Guys, in the comments, please let me know if you do not want Wolves spoilers, because from time to time I may drop the score. But if you guys are recording it or don't want it ruined, please let me know and I'll keep that to myself. So yeah, we got the 2025 schedule here for the Packers. I think we're good now. All right, let's go through the Lions first. What's up, Bob? Skull, buddy. Good to see you. So you want to start with the Bears? You got the Bears up here.
Oh, sorry.
It's up to you, man. We got it. We'll start with the Bears. Okay, Lions. Lions it is. So we have the Lions kicking off, and I'll keep track of the records here as we go. Their season starts on the road in Green Bay. And personally, I would lean taking Green Bay here just because, we have the coordinator change. They're starting on the road. It's 3:25 start time in Green Bay. That place is going to be hyped up, ready to go. I would take the Packers here.
I'm going Packers. I would say Packers too. You know how I feel about the Lions already.
Okay, so we have the Lions starting 0-1. And then in week 2, they're going to host the Chicago Bears, who are going to have a short week because the Bears are going to play Monday Night Football against the Vikings. I will take the Lions to win over the Bears.
Yes, I agree.
All right. Then the Lions are going to travel on the road to Baltimore. They're going to lose that game.
I'll take that.
All right. By the way, for the audience members, Dave and I have to come to a consensus for this. We're not picking individually. We're going together on this. So right now we have the Lions starting 1-2. Browns at home, week 4. That's a win for the Lions to start 2-2.
I'll call that too.
Bengals at home. I'm going to say...
I'm going to go with I would say the Bengals.
Let's go Bengals. 2-3. Chiefs on the road. Chiefs.
How good are the Chiefs going to be? I'll go with the Chiefs.
2-4 start for the Lions. Home against Tampa Bay. That's a sneaky tough game, dude. Tampa's tough.
I don't think they travel up north as well.
This is a Sunday night game as well. 8:20 start.
I'll go with the Lions on this one.
Okay.
This is a tough one though.
I will agree with you. We'll go 3-4. I'm fine with calling a Lions win at home there, but that's a sneaky tough game. Could see him dropping that one. Then they have the bye week, and then they host Minnesota coming off the bye week. I'm going to reverse what I said previously and say the Lions beat us at Detroit.
And when is this game for us? Who do we play before this?
That's a good question. Let me pull that up. Hold, please. Okay, so that's going to be week 8 I'm looking into here. The Vikings play a Thursday night football game in LA, so they're going to have a little bit extra time to get ready. but they're still flying back from the West Coast, and the Lions are on a bye. So the Lions still have the upper hand there. The Lions are also 4.5-point favorites as of right now for that game against the Vikings.
Now, who did we play? We played the Rams?
The Chargers.
Chargers.
Chargers. Did I say Rams? I meant Chargers.
Chargers, right? So this is what, 3 straight losses for us?
For the Vikings?
Yeah, because then we have 2 games out of the bye that we lost.
Yeah, I said they were going to lose to Philly week 7. Week
Chargers
8,
week 8.
I told them they were going to lose on the West Coast, and then I have them losing in Detroit. So that's 3 state losses after a 5-0 start.
So it's 3 straight. You think that?
It's a tough stretch, dude. Then they play Baltimore.
So you gonna have what? And we're 4. We lose 4 in a row.
They can win at home against Baltimore. That would be a tough game if they could do it. I still had them winning 13 with beating the Lions. So if I change that one game, we're still at 12 wins
Then
for
we
the
could beat the
Vikings.
Chargers. But we're coming off what? Eagles were Thursday night, right?
I thought that was a noon. No, us playing the Eagles. That's a Sunday noon game.
So it was Chargers Thursday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what the fans are saying. 3 straight, I doubt. Dan says, Daniel, you're the tiebreaker. I say Vikings lose at Detroit with the Lions come off a bye. Dave wants to say that the Vikings are going to win. It's up to you, boss.
Because the way we picked it last time, this means that we would Skoldock has them losing 3 straight. You're the tiebreaker, Dan. We're waiting on you.
Yeah, it's okay. He might not
says
be.
He doubts it, so I think we know how he feels.
All right, I'm a homer. Vikings.
You always pick the Vikings. All right.
All right, Lions start 3-5.
Okay. On the road to Washington.
On the road to Washington. Washington spanked them at home last year, dude.
3-6.
3-6.
And on the road to the Eagles.
3-7. Okay, they beat the Giants. They're 4-7.
Beat the Giants. Green Bay at home.
Let's give them that, right? 5-7.
5-7.
Dallas at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough game. Shit, Dallas plays better on the road than they do at home.
It's a night game too.
Yeah.
Is that Monday night?
Let's give them a win. It's home.
Okay.
6-7.
Okay.
Rams on the road.
I take it. That's
West Coast. Let's call it a loss. 6-8.
Steelers, they can win that.
7-8.
Okay.
They're losing on Christmas Day. Vikings sweep them.
So 8-9. 8-9 Lions.
7-9. And then they finish at Chicago in the cold ass weather of Chicago. Jared Goff does not play well outside. I'm going to say Chicago wins that game. They're 7-10.
Okay.
They miss the playoffs.
Sorry, Lions.
Lions 7-10. Wow. All right, let's go to.
Sorry, Lions.
Let's go to the Bears.
Okay, I'm gonna get that. Sorry.
All right, week 1.
We're gonna be nice for the Bears. I don't think so, but
week 1 we have the Bears losing.
0-1.
Week 2, we already said the Bears were going to lose that game, so they're 0-2. Week 3, they travel, Dallas plays in Chicago. Dallas is tough for me because I don't know what really to expect from them.
Well,
should we give them a win because it's in Chicago?
No.
And also, do you see the Bears? Do you think the Bears start 0-3? They could.
Yeah.
All right. 0-3. They win against the Raiders, right? Question
Yeah.
mark?
1-3.
Okay. The Raiders might be more feisty than we think, though, with Geno and Ashton Genty. So we'll see. So the Bears have an early bye week. They go into the bye week at 1-3. Then they come out and they play Washington on the road. They're going to lose that, right? 1-4.
Yep.
They play the Saints. They won that. They're 2-4.
2-4.
Baltimore, that's a loss. 2-5.
Yeah.
Bengals on the road. That's a tough 2-game stretch. 2-6. Giants, it's a win. 3-6.
3-7 Vikings.
Yeah, they're not going to win in Minnesota. 3-7. Steelers, we'll give them. It's a tough defense, but
Is that at home?
that's at home. Let's give them a win there. 4-7. You good with that?
2 losses, the Steelers from the North, but sure. 3 actually. So we have them going 0-3 so far against the North.
Then they go to the Philly. That's a loss. 4-8. They play the Packers at Lambeau December 7th. 4-9, right? They're going to lose that.
Yeah, they never.
Last year was weird with the last week of the season. They're going to beat
Cleveland?
the Browns. They'll go 5-9.
7-9.
Packers at home December 20th. Give them a home win against the Packers, right? 6-9.
Okay.
Okay, 6-9. At San Francisco, Sunday Night Football. I'm going to pick San Francisco there. Are you good with that?
10.
6-10. And then finishing at home against the Lions, we gave the Bears a win against the Lions. We got to keep consistent. So they finished 7-10.
7-10.
So they tied the Lions. Packers.
All right.
Week 1, we gave them a win. They started 1-0. Week 2 against Washington, that's at home for them. So I think that's going to be a good game. I want to look up the spread for that game. I bet the Packers are like a point favorite. The Packers are a 1.5 point favorite at home against the Commanders. That's a Thursday night game. I feel like Thursday night, I don't know. I don't know how to lean there. I kind of want to pick the Commanders, but there's a lot of people who are expecting regression with the Commanders. But it is like a short week for the Commanders on a Thursday night, and it's on the road at Lambeau. I kind of want to pick the Packers.
And we already have them, the Washington beating the Bears and the Lions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I can go 2-0 on that.
So the Packers.
I have the Packers finishing second in the division. So
the Packers start 2-0. They start 3-0 because they play the Browns on the road. Then they play the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Let's see what that spread is. Week 4. Packers are 1.5 favorites on the road in Dallas. I'm going to give it to Dallas because I don't think the Packers start 4-0.
yeah.
So 3-1. They have an early week 5 bye week. Then they play the Bengals at home. And that's a 3:25 game. That's going to be a fun game to watch. Let's pull up the spread on that one. Packers are 2.5 favorites at home against the Bengals. I guess it makes sense with the Bengals not having a defense.
I mean, it could be 3-4-1. They're
You
going
want
to
to
go
give
on a
the
winning
Packers
streak.
the win there?
They're going to go on a winning streak here.
I think I'm going to give the Packers a win because the Bengals have no defense as good as their offense could be.
4-1.
They're 4-1 at Cardinals.
5-1.
They are 1.5 favorites at Cardinals. Dude, this
They could
schedule for
lose
them
the
is
Steelers. They could lose the Steelers on the road.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to give them a 5-1 start over the Cardinals, and then I'm going to have them lose at Pittsburgh because that is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And that's a night game too. And then they play Panthers at home. I'm going to have them win.
Yeah.
They play Eagles at home. I'm going to have the Eagles win that on Monday Night Football. 6-3 start. The Giants on the road, they're going to win that to go to 7-3. You good with that?
Yeah.
They play the Vikings at home, noon game, November 23rd. Probably 30 to 40 degrees. I don't remember what we had for the Vikings winning this game. I think we had the Vikings sweep because we just thought the Vikings had a better team. That is week 12.
I had them lose the last game of the season because
there's no spread for that game, which is interesting because some games have spreads and some games don't. So
yeah, we had us winning that game and then losing week 18.
Yeah, for kind of shits and gigs. But 7-4 because they lose against the Vikings there. On the road at Detroit, Thursday Night Football, that's Thanksgiving. I think we gave the win to Detroit, so they're 7-5. Bears at home, we gave them the win, so they're 8-5. Broncos on the road. That's a sneaky one. That's a good team.
That's a tough one. And it's Mile High.
Mile High, week 15. Let's see if there's an over-under. Right now, the Broncos are a 1.5 favorite.
Remember how we turned to shit in the second half?
Let's give them a loss there at Mile High, 8-6. And then we said they were gonna, let's see,
lose the Bears. I think he had the Bears beating them.
8-7. Home against the Ravens. I'm gonna say they lose that, right?
Yeah.
8-8. And then we had them beating the Vikings to go 9-8.
Yeah.
So, and then we had the Vikings with my revised schedule sitting at 12 wins. So, and that kind of makes sense based on our pick of the Packers in the last week because the Vikings wouldn't have much to play for in that instance. They're going to rest their starters because they have the division at hand. So, with our schedule picking here, what we've kind of decided was that number one, the NFC North is going to devour itself and the Vikings end up sweeping. I think we had us sweep the division because we're homers.
Well, we went 5-1 in the division.
Yeah, and the one loss was because we, didn't need to play. Oh, look at that. We got some Lions fans in here. So we had the Lions finishing 7-10 with that horrific away schedule and just probably splitting with a lot of divisional opponents. It's going to be, and then even with the Lions schedule, we talked about the Tampa Bay game at home for them. Very tough game. They play the Vikings coming off a bye week, but still Vikings have been playing the Lions extremely tough. Vikings got better this offseason. The Bears at 7-10. Yeah, the Bears at 7-10 as well. They made some improvements, but still they have a tough schedule. The Packers at 9-8, I could see them winning more. I could see them winning 10, 11 games because their schedule sets up pretty nicely for them. We had them losing games like at Mile High, at Steelers. So if they win a couple of these games, they could easily get 10 plus wins, and the Packers might win the division just based on their schedule, like lining up the best, in my opinion, for any of the three NFC North teams here that we're talking about. So yeah, just interesting how it kind of came out here.
So Solo 310, apparently a Detroit fan.
Yeah, what's up, man? Good to see you.
We just put a lot of weight on your coaching staff being gone.
We did. We put a lot of weight on. You think your team's
got all the talent in the world?
Yeah,
but it doesn't help that. But you had the toughest schedule, and you lost your coaches. And I don't think. We just went through this and said 7-10. You're probably better than a 7-10 team, but this is a really tough schedule.
Yeah, let's pull up the Lions schedule again, just so Solo can kind of give his thoughts. So, Solo, we said that, and I don't know if you were here while we were picking for the Lions schedule, but we said that the we were giving the Lions a loss in Green Bay, week 1. New coordinators playing in Lambeau. I think that's a tough ask. We gave you the win against the Bears. Bears coming off of Monday Night Football. We gave you a loss at Ravens. I think that's fair. Should be a good game. So Solo's main point is he thinks that they're just going to walk over the Packers week 1 because they have the same team, less injuries. But I'm going to tell you right now that Hutchinson's not going to be back and ready to go week 1. He's not going to be the same guy. It's going to take him some time. But yeah, I know your defense is going to be much better from the injuries, but you also lost Aaron Glenn. So who knows how your coordinator is going to handle the defense? Like these are things that they're going to have to prove to us again. And Ben Johnson isn't your offensive coordinator anymore. Now you have I believe a first-time player caller calling the plays. So despite having still a very, very good offensive line, great running backs, good quarterback in Goff, St. Brown, then the guy, Jameson Williams, the gun guy or whatever.
Your big issue too is that I've never seen a tougher road schedule in the history of the sport.
It's setting up to be really, really tough. And who knows with injuries, right? Like Lamar Jackson goes down, suddenly that Ravens game is looking very different. Joe Burrow isn't in, that game is very different. But like right now, looking at it, it looks really tough. So anyways, we had them starting 1-2 with a win over the Bears and losses at Green Bay, at Ravens. Of course, they're going to beat the Browns at home.
We were pretty iffy about this Bengals game.
Yeah, the Bengals game we were tough on just because they don't have a defense. I could see the Lions for sure beating them just because they outscore the Bengals for sure. But it's the Bengals. They can get you. But it's in Detroit. So I think the Lions should probably beat them. I think we gave the Lions that win.
Okay, well that'd make them 8-9.
Oh, so did we reverse that? Okay. Give the Lions 8 wins then if they beat the Bengals. They can beat the Bengals. But
I think we gave you the Buccaneers game, but we didn't give you the Washington or Eagles.
Yeah.
LA. I think we had you losing to us twice.
We did.
Although you did try to give the game back to them.
I tried to say the Lions were going to beat the Vikings off the bye week, but Dave and the fans wouldn't let me do that to you.
Because then we would have predicted 3 straight losses for us.
Which is totally fair. If you've seen our schedule, home against Philly, at Chargers Thursday Night Football, at Detroit, and then home against the Ravens. That is a tough stretch. What did we give the Vikings? I don't think we have the Vikings schedule pulled up, do we?
We gave us a low of 10 wins.
We saw
a high of 13. But we didn't do it on this show. We did it on our last show. We just did the entire Vikings show last week.
Yeah, so we had the Vikings winning the division. Surprise, surprise. No homer, no bias.
We have a very favorable
start
to our season.
We had the Vikings winning the division. In our prediction, we had 12 wins, but we had the Packers in second place with 9 wins. So we had the Lions 7-10, the Bears 7-10, the Packers 9-8, the Vikings 12 wins.
And it all depends on how your coaches are, man. It's everything to do with your coaches.
Yeah. And that's fair. So Solo says with JJ, and this is the biggest disconnect here between the NFC North, Bears, Packers, Lions fans and the Vikings fans, is that we were all plugged in, right? Like we were listening to the beat reports and everything during training camp. We saw JJ on a daily basis at camp, where all the rest of the division really just saw his preseason game, right? And I don't put a lot of stock in preseason games. He had really a beautiful throw down the left side for a long touchdown. Then he had a couple, wide open play action touchdowns or whatever. If you watch the breakdowns, Chase Daniel liked what he did with his eyes and his feet and his accuracy and whatever. But what I'd say is that I trust Kevin O'Connell to develop quarterbacks. I think he's definitely deserved the benefit of the doubt to develop quarterbacks. I trust the overall skill set of JJ McCarthy with what he brings from an athletic standpoint, from an arm strength standpoint, from a processing standpoint, and just from a leadership standpoint. This kid has been unbelievable in the film room and just as a leader around the team. And I trust the team around him with one of the best offensive units in the NFL and one of the best situations for a quarterback in the NFL. If JJ McCarthy is going to fail this year, he's going to have to be not average, but legit bad. And I just don't see that outcome for JJ McCarthy being legit bad this year. I don't.
Well, and another added thing there, you're talking about, we were tuned into it, is that he was looking better than Sam Darnold in camp. Um, by a lot of reporters that were watching the practices, and then we kind of saw that in some of the film, and then he come out and Sam Darnold didn't look that great for the few snaps that he got, and then the way that JJ played in the preseason game, coming throwing those 2 touchdowns and coming and making up for a mistake and showing that leadership and just the way he's been this whole offseason. Yeah, that is the big question for us, obviously. But ask a Viking, 90% of us are pretty calm about the way he's going to play.
Yeah, I mean, to your point of he hasn't played games, he's too inexperienced. I mean, Jaden. So I think you mean overall in his career, he hasn't played a lot of games because he's a young guy, but he won the national championship at in Michigan. And yeah, he didn't throw the football as much as other guys around the country, but he threw the ball enough. I mean, he had to convert 3rd and longs, like he won the college championship. I mean, that deserves a lot of credit.
High school national championship.
I think twice. I think he won one at NAS,
yeah.
and then I think he won one in Florida as well.
Yeah.
And to your, I mean, just to the point of rookie quarterbacks, I think people act like and I shouldn't be calling him a rookie. I should be calling him a first-year starter because he's been in the system. He knows everything there is, and he's going to be prepared to run the system as a first-year starter. He's mentally so far ahead of where a rookie quarterback would be coming in and playing in the NFL. But with that said, first-year starters can win a lot of games. Alec Lewis from The Athletic in Minnesota, covering the Vikings, published an article that pointed out all these quarterbacks who won over 10 games in their first year starting, like Matt Ryan winning 11 games, Russell Wilson winning 12 games, Dak Prescott winning 13 games, Ben Roethlisberger winning 12 games. So it happens for sure. I think a lot of people look at these quarterbacks like Caleb Williams, for instance, and they want to compare those situations with the Vikings. It's night and day difference. I mean, we have competent coaching staff around this kid. We have weapons. We have an offensive line now. Our offensive line, in my opinion, is the same tier as the Lions at this point. We fixed it, bro. We are ready to not only pass protect with the best of them, but run the ball down teams' throats. And not to mention, we added Jordan Mason, and we have Aaron Jones coming back. So this team is just fucking stacked, to be honest with you.
I concur.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'm not one of those people like I'm gonna give JJ McCarthy a mulligan year. He should come in and run this team because it is a fucking Ferrari as far as I'm concerned. Offensively, with the new offensive line, we've already had the weapons, but geez, we just added 3 stellar interior linemen. Hopefully, Donovan Jackson gets up to speed. He's fully capable of. One of the big things people when they enter the league, they don't have the strength. He has the strength. This guy would bench 34 times or something like that. He's got the strength. That was stuff we were missing from guys that we drafted that we hope we're going to start right away. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, we're kicking him out the door. That's not his problem. He's a lot more talented than Ingram was as far as his physical tools, blocking, footwork, everything there, mobility. Guy's an athlete. And he's just a lot smarter, football savvy than Ed Ingram was. He can read defenses. He knows where the twist is coming from. All those things makes me feel good about this offense. The other 2 guys are proven, I feel, that we brought in, and one's a Pro Bowler. And then on the defense, it is revamped. This is not the same defense. I think that all the players now that we needed for Flores to make this defense, hum. So that's why we feel good about it. And you throw, JJ McCarthy, all he has to do is just just don't turn the ball over.
Be a
That's the
point
thing I
guard.
didn't want Sam Darnold to do, and look what he won. He won 14 games with a less of a team around him.
People are repeating history right now by picking against the Minnesota Vikings because of quarterback uncertainty. They did it last year with Sam Darnold, and KOC showed you what he could do with a broken quarterback. And now people are doing it again with JJ McCarthy. People are scared of what they don't know, but sometimes you have to go with projection. And everything about the situation tells me that JJ McCarthy is going to succeed in the first year, and the Vikings are going to win a lot of games in a tough schedule.
Yeah, I think Tracy Anson, make sure you subscribe, man. Glad to have you. We got a big fan, Jason Harmon, out in California too, man. You should check him out on Twitter. But yeah, hey Tracy, tell us how you became a Viking fan out in California. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. Good to have you, Tracy. I lost my train of thought. I'm not going to lie, partner.
It's my fault.
That's all good.
It's my fault. What's the score?
It's not good. Not good at all.
Fell apart again.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Good. Oh, it's not bad. Down by sorry. Now it's updated. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, man. Cam Beasley came on talking about JJ McCarthy, had only great things to say about him, which what else is he going to say, right? But he was like, this kid was mentally involved when he didn't really, a lot of people wouldn't be. You know what I mean? He said a lot of people going through meniscus tear, they're out for the year. They're going to be in the training room. They're going to be lifting weights, whatever. They're not going to be necessarily with the team all the time. And this dude is picking the defense players' brains in the locker room after a win.
Phillips says after he got done with surgery, he goes, "Hey, what day of the week are you free that I could pick your brain about defensive fronts?"
And he's just wired like this. Like he lives and breathes and bleeds football, and he just wants to win. And when the whole Caleb Williams thing came out earlier, about him saying, "Dad, I need to end up in Minnesota. I love Kevin O'Connell. I need to be a Viking." And then, you find out that nobody in Chicago taught him how to watch film. And then I agreed with Matthew Collar on his take with that. And Phil from Score North had the same exact take when they said, dude, you're a big boy now. You're in the big leagues. You cannot and should not rely on coaches to hold your hand and show you how to do everything. Go ask a player. Go ask someone, hey, can you help me look through this? There are consultants all across the NFL. Get a hold on Twitter. You can, reach out to Chase Daniel or one of these guys and just be like, hey, can you help me look? What am I looking for here? Like, be a leader, right? And JJ McCarthy has shown us the capabilities that he is going to be a leader. And that is so vital to succeed in the NFL as a quarterback.
Yeah, that would be so I felt like it was rehashing old news. Like I think all the quarterbacks were talking about, that was the buzz in the combines. All the quarterbacks were thinking the Vikings were a great situation. Maybe it's a little more flavor to it and more actual quotes from people saying he wanted to be a Viking. I think all those quarterbacks want to be a Viking. But yeah, that's no excuse. Someone didn't teach me how to do it. I mean, it's fine if you're learning a new job that you've never done before, but hey, you're a football player. You've watched film in college. You probably, there's 50 other guys on your team or more that you could go, hey, I need help. I'm not getting it. Can you help me out? Find a mentor. I mean, it's a quarterback room, for heaven's sake. It's like, just reaching out to your head. I know the coaching they had wasn't that great, and I get it. But you should not let that be your hindrance. You should not let that be your obstacle. You have all the resources in the world as an NFL quarterback to get help. Everybody wants to help you.
Yeah, I concur 100%. Guys in the comments, Tracy, Dan, Skull Mafia, Lions fans, Solo 310. Anybody have questions for us that you want us to answer? We might call this a little bit of an early show. We're kind of running out of talkers. It is the dead season, but let us know if there's something you got on your mind. Dave, did you have anything else set up to talk about tonight?
Well, I mean, I did like willy-nilly put a thumbnail out there. What do you think JJ type of season is going to be with a new quarterback like this, considering the people are going to be keying on him? Let's say he stays completely healthy all year. What's a JJ to JJ connection look like this year?
It's a great question. I'm going to pull up Mike Clay's projections from ESPN. I think that Mike Clay does an outstanding job with his projections. I think he's the best in the business. And so I'm going to pull that up here and see what he's projecting. Almost got it. Just looking for, there they are. Okay. So, and one thing that Mike Clay does is he doesn't necessarily stat out a full 17 game schedule for people. He'll kind of account for injury a little bit. And he just does that to try to hit more on the median of his projections. So he has JJ McCarthy playing 15 games, and I wouldn't read too much into that, but these projections are over 15 games. He has JJ McCarthy throwing a total of 537 balls, completing 347 of them for 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. I did see somewhere that that 14 interception mark did lead the league in interceptions for his projections. So he's projecting a rookie interception right there. Taking 26 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. So pretty much a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Taking 39 sacks. He has him rushing for 200 yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. And in terms of fantasy ranking, that's going to place him as the 13th ranking quarterback in fantasy. Now, you asked about the Justin Jefferson connection. He had Justin also statted for 15 games, catching 105 balls on 159 targets for 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, placing him second overall in fantasy. So, very good season for Justin Jefferson. 10 touchdowns, 1,300 yards, catching 105 balls. And for McCarthy, I think that it's very, very fair, if not optimistic, that he's going to throw for 3,700 yards.
He has him 13th in fantasy.
Yes.
Where does Justin Jefferson rank?
Second.
Yeah, I felt like it was kind of under. I just feel like there's going to be more yards coming from that, from the receiver. But you said 15 games. But
here's an interesting one.
Chase, who's beating him? He's number 1 at receiver.
Probably Chase. I'd have to go find the Bengals page.
No worries.
Before I leave this, though, TJ Hawkinson, he has 111 targets, 77 catches for 760 yards, 4 touchdowns, which is 5th among tight ends. I actually think he's lowballing him there. I think TJ has an awesome season. I think TJ could push for damn near 1,000 yards this season and catch 100 balls. I think TJ is going to be back.
What's he got our running backs at? Does it say?
Good question. He has our running backs. Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, statted for 14 games apiece. He has the attempts at 173 for Jones and 149 for Mason. The yards at 768 yards for Jones, 690 for Mason. 4 touchdowns for Jones, 3 for Mason. Targets, he has Jones catching 45 balls and 3 touchdowns for 350 yards. Mason only 17 balls for 100 yards and 1 touchdown. Jones finishing as the 26th running back and Mason as the 45th running back. So that's where I would mostly disagree with Clay's projection. Is I don't think he's respecting the running game enough, and he's probably looking at Kevin O'Connell's history and saying this guy doesn't run the football. And I think that's going to change with McCarthy.
Yeah, and it's almost like he's got like what's Addison's yards?
He's got Jordan Addison statted for 65 catches for 800 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, he doesn't have us as a very high-powered offense, does he? Not really. Maybe average, maybe a little above average.
He has
maybe top 15, at least top 13, top 12.
It's kind of so he has the receiving yardage total is like just over 4,000, and a little bit of that is because he did stat Sam Howell into throwing 46 balls for 500 yards as well.
Well, that explains a little bit then. He expects Sam Howell to play.
2 games of Sam Howell is what he threw in there.
So that explains a little more.
I don't think he expects that. I think he just does that for projection's sake, right? Like, I don't think it's just the way that he stats it out, because quarterbacks, it is uncommon for quarterbacks to play an entire season. Usually they miss a game or 2 or something like that.
Funny thing, Tracy, I still have the T-shirt commemorating the game his rookie year of breaking the record against San Diego. So I have 2 of them. I don't fit into them anymore, but I have 2 of them. 296 yards against the Chargers.
That game was awesome.
That'd make me a fan too.
That game, that's a lot of fun to go back and rewatch.
Funny, I was supposed to be there that week, but I had a friend in San Diego that I was going to go visit, but there were like wildfires leading up to that game. So
wasn't Adrian Peterson like not at a super high number by halftime? Didn't a lot of those yards come in the second half of that Chargers game? I can't
remember. It just seemed that in the Bears game that year was just absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And he didn't even start the season really. He wasn't the first carry of the game the first couple of weeks. And then he missed 2 games.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna call that an episode here.
All right.
That was hey, we got a lot to talk about, man. There's an hour show for the dead period of May. I think we did well.
Yeah, well, the Lions fan came in.
That was good. He stimulated some discussion.
Yeah, he didn't go off on us.
He brought some counterpoints to him, but I think we answered him, and I don't think he had another counterpoint. So he's just like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah, when we tell the NFC champions they're going to go 7-10, I would say call bullshit too, but
I would too.
We have a reason. Yeah. We have a reason for it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, boys. Thanks for joining us. The usuals, Dan, good to see you. Skull Mafia, Bob, Tracy, great to see you, man.
Have you, man.
We are going to
subscribe on the way out. Make sure you hit like if you're still listening.
What do the Vikings need to do to become a dynasty? What is missing? JJ McCarthy needs to be a good quarterback. That's what we need.
Yeah, he needs to be our foundation for a while.
And the second part of your question is they need to start hitting on some young draft picks. Starting now.
Which could have started last year.
Could have.
Yeah,
if Dallas Turner hits last year. If Dallas Turner hits and JJ McCarthy hit, you are well on your way. This next draft, they're going to have like 10 picks. They're going to be stacked. And who knows if they make a move at the deadline, so some of that might go down. But they are scheduled to have like 2 to 3 comp picks in addition to the rest of the picks that we have. So it'll be nice to have a second round pick again. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
All right, Tracy, good seeing you. Join us next week, Tuesday nights.
Skull Vikes.
Skull Vikes.